cryptocurrency mining rig from Chameleon Computers. The first thing I wanted you to notice is the box is a lot lighter and smaller than expected. And that's a good thing because I don't want to take up too much space. They mailed it out via FedEx. And between the time that it was sent out and received, it was about 2 business days. The less time it's in transit, the smaller possibility of items getting damaged or stolen. And I'm not going to waste your time showing you how I wire it up because they already have a decent video of the setup. So I'm going to get right to the bottom line, see the hash rate, how well it performs, and the money it makes. And we'll get into that shortly. Okay, so here is the unit setup, and it went smoothly. Only some minor issues with zip tie coming unloose. However, was able to resolve that on my own. As you can see, here are the 2 PSUs and the motherboard, the 8 GPUs. They are AMD RX 580 Armor for this setup, and these are the risers. Everything, all the cables going to it, I strapped down so if they were accidentally yanked, it doesn't damage any parts of the system. This is the mouse, the keyboard, the Ethernet cables, the 2 power lines, the HDMI. It goes to the 7th graphics chip, and it doesn't go to the motherboard. I remember reading that in the manual. I just followed the directions. It's pretty self-explanatory. And also very important is the fan blowing through the graphics card, so the wind travels between the actual graphics cards and regulates the temperature. I turned down the temperature inside the building as well, so as to maintain optimal performance and ensure longevity. The heat is the enemy. Each one of these graphics chips has 2 fans on it as well. However, an extra fan is probably a good idea since those little fans on the units are pretty small. Also, the motherboard has a fan as well. You can kind of see it right there. And this right here is the solid-state hard drive. I like how this motherboard has little LEDs underneath it for show, but it's pretty cool. The PSUs are 1,000 watts each. There's 2 of them. I saw that some of the setups have a single PSU that's 2,000 watts. However, support told me that it's better to have 2 working in tandem. Alright, so in the next scene I'm going to show you the actual performance on the big screen. So just hang in. So the unit is set up now, and I'm happy to report that we are at exactly 226, which is the number that was advertised by Chameleon Computers, and they were spot on, 226. That's important to me because often an eBay seller could possibly exaggerate the numbers, but not Chameleon Computers. They are exactly where they need to be. This screen gives the breakdown, which is the default screen, for the processing speed of each individual GPU, all 8 of them, along with the fan speed. So if one of them is running hot or running slow, we can see exactly which GPU is causing the problem. Now I'm going to go to the Afterburner, which is the overclock settings. It's pretty cool. I'm going to show you the cockpit of a jet. You have your power readout, your temperature, your clock speed, and all sorts of other things I don't quite understand. There's 4 profiles that come set up on it already. And in the manual, it tells you which currencies are specific to each profile. I'm mining Ethereum, so that would be profile number 2. When you switch profiles, you can see how it changes the voltage, the power limit, the temperature, the core, the memory, etc. And it's optimized, so it's best for that particular currency. Pretty cool. Easy to switch to different currencies, so you're getting optimal performance. Now we're going to switch over to the mining pool, so you can get the a feel for that. This is Ether miner, and as you can see, the average hash rate, the current hash rate is 226, as I mentioned. That's exactly where it's supposed to be. The average is a little lower. However, that's going to increase with time. Something important. I noticed that the stale shares was a little higher than what it should be. I spoke to Phil over at support, and he told me, he's very responsive by the way, told me right away, he believes that possibly I wasn't getting sufficient fan speed. So I was a little skeptical because I already had a fan, but I added a second fan, a more powerful second fan. And sure enough, he was right. The second fan decreased the stale shares. It also decreased the fan speed on the GPUs, and even slightly increased the hash rate. So I can't emphasize enough that the fan is so important. I mean, not only a regular fan, but go overboard. Get like 2 fans. This way, you know you're getting sufficient flow, and if something happens to one fan, you have a second fan to make sure that you're maintaining optimal performance as well as you're not putting your rig at risk. Now, what I want to do is I want to follow up and give you a review a month from now to ensure that the hash rate is still what it's supposed to be. There weren't anything unexpected, any issues with the hardware, and I'd like to do that month by month, possibly for a year or 2 years, because ideally when you buy a rig, you want it to have full operation for at least a couple of years, because you're not going to make up your money right away. It's a long-term investment, so the longer the better. It may take a year before you make up your cost, and it's only then that you're actually profiting. So this is a long-term investment. I want to ensure this thing lasts as long as possible, and I'm going to keep you in the loop. I'm going to keep giving you follow-ups. If I run into any issues, I'll disclose that.